What if the thing you're focused on right now is actually the thing holding you back? Because for years, I was doing exactly that. I was chasing the big dramatic skies, the iconic locations, the scenes that did well on social media. I thought that was the path. Get noticed, stand out, and I'll grow. The whole time my photography felt meaningless and uninspiring. Then I made one small decision. I want to share it with you today because it didn't just change my photos, it changed everything. My motivation, my creativity, and eventually it led me to build an entire business running landscape photography workshops, all from that one shift in my thinking. In my early years, every single shoot was planned around one question: will this do well on social media? I'd watch the weather apps, waiting for perfect cloud cover, perfect light, perfect everything. And in between shoots, I'd be scrolling endlessly on Instagram, looking at these stunning images, incredible conditions, incredible locations, and just feeding this hunger to go out and capture something similar. Here's the one thing I didn't realize at the time. I was setting myself up to fail over and over again. Because the image I had in my head, it depended almost entirely on things I just couldn't control. So when conditions didn't work out, and they usually didn't, I'd come home deflated, flat, wondering why I even bothered. And slowly, I started losing motivation. I was copying, not creating, chasing attention instead of finding fulfillment. I was following a formula for attention-grabbing images, big foreground and epic sky, framed in that famous 4x5 Instagram crop. I soon realised that every other photographer was following the exact same format, and it was a competition that I just couldn't win. There will always be someone with better conditions, more followers, or a bigger platform. A turning point came when I stopped asking, will this perform well? I started asking something completely different. What is it that actually interests me about this scene? That's it. That was the shift. I stopped planning what I was going to photograph. I left the expectations at home. I started just wandering around, slowing down, noticing what generally interests me and caught my eye. Instead of asking how a location had already been photographed, I started asking how I saw it, and something was unlocked. I started experimenting, following curiosity instead of trying to replicate what was already out there. When you stop trying to compete, you start interpreting, and that's where real creativity lives. Here's what I know now that I wish I'd understood earlier. Landscape photography is crowded, saturated. Social media is the same. Everyone is chasing the same moments. But when you photograph in a way that's generally true to how you see the world, you're not competing anymore. You're differentiating. And authenticity cuts through saturation every single time. The other thing, the motivation is completely different. When I was chasing likes, my energy depended on the algorithm, on engagement, on whether a post would perform well. That mindset is destined to fail and lead to disappointment and loss of motivation pretty quickly. But when you photograph what brings you joy, that motivation is yours. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't depend on anyone else. And that freedom, that's where creativity really opens up. And here's the part I generally did not see coming. When I started making images that felt true to me, people began to notice. Not because the work was any better or more dramatic, but because it was different, because it was authentic. People started asking questions. How did you see that? Why did you compose it that way? How do I learn to see like that? And that curiosity, that genuine interest from other photographers is what eventually led me to begin running workshops, to build a business around teaching people how to develop their own way of seeing. Not copying mine, not copying trends, but learning to trust their own eye. And none of that would have happened if I hadn't given myself permission to see differently first. So if you want to experience this yourself, here's where I'd start. Change the question you ask in the field. Instead of, will this get likes? Ask, what generally interests me here? Is it the light, a shape, certain texture, a feeling? Just follow that. Let curiosity lead. not validation. Try shooting for yourself for a month. Don't post straight away. No audience in mind. No performance pressure. Just go out and explore. I promise you, your creativity will shift faster than you expect. Lean into what feels different. If you're drawn to something subtle while everyone else is chasing the obvious moment, follow it. Different isn't a risk. Different is your advantage. Every time you create from your own perspective, you're building a visual identity, a style, something recognizable. And study yourself, not just other photographers. Instead of asking, how did they shoot this? Ask, why does this scene move me? Self-awareness builds style faster than imitation ever will. If you're feeling stuck in your photography right now, maybe the answer isn't a new lens. Maybe it's not even a new location. Maybe it's just a new question. Stop asking what will perform well and start asking what excites you. Because the images that bring you joy, the ones that genuinely feel like yours, those might just be the ones that transform everything. If this resonated with you, leave a comment and tell me, what would you photograph if you stopped caring about likes? I'd genuinely love to know. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.